at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think it did well.
Yeah, I mean, I can count all the times I've been sick in my life.
The only time I've been really sick, that I was constantly sick, I think I was sick for like a year.
Yeah, that was bad.
But that's because I was pretty sure I was...
well, two separate doctors prescribed you antibiotics.
And I'm pretty sure I was also immersed in like a black mold situation.
That's definitely possible.
And then once I got out of it, the doctors had given me so many fucking antibiotics at that point that my body just was like, we can't fight anything off. You've killed everything.
Yeah,
so my body had to regain all of that. And then I got food poisoning twice, and I've been better ever since.
yeah. And then after that, too, like I noticed...
See? Bacteria. Got to eat that bacteria, babe.
We started doing that raw milk stuff.
Oh, yeah. Raw milk.
We even got raw goat's milk.
Raw milk.
And I think raw goat's milk is the closest enzymatically to human breast milk.
I have to get this out of my head. Raw milk.
But that stuff has enzymes that keep your
and probiotics,
your gut flora just flourishing.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it lies in, is how healthy your gut is.
Yeah.
If your gut is healthy, you're going to be way better off when you're fighting off anything. And so I think that's a huge priority. I definitely think that a lot of these things, as far as washing your hands more, not coughing with your fucking mouth open, all of these things are very nice. I like that these are being put in place.
And I know we talked about this before, but I know that was the first thing I noticed about Spokane was that people, before all this COVID shit, people cough open mouth without doing anything.
100%.
Like in public, not just like...
Oh, yeah.
In their car.
I feel like people just like lick each other's cheeks. Like that's how they say hi to each other. They just lick each other.
Yeah. They like spit, go, hey, what's up?
Yeah, they just like catch each other's spit in their mouth. They look like those frogs that like have the fountains going towards them. They're just like, catch my loogie, bro.
I legitimately have seen people in the store open mouth cough like like that. No hands up, no elbow, no in the shirt. None
you know
of that.
what? Some of you didn't grow up with a Mexican figure, and it shows.
Yeah.
You guys need some fucking...
You need that fucking flip-flop against the back of the head.
Exactly, 100%. Get that chancla beat.
Fucking...
That's like,
Or
you don't
spatula,
do that shit.
Hairbrush.
Yeah. Wooden
anything
spoon.
that was around.
Yeah, whatever was in their vicinity.
Whatever.
I think I got hit with a curling iron one time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was pretty sure I was swatted with a curling iron.
Magazines, newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever they could grab.
Yep.
Because when the rage hits a Mexican, they grab anything they can.
It's true. Or you go pick your own stick. That was another thing too. So I had like the southern side from my dad's side, which was go pick your own stick.
Yeah.
And then I had the fucking Mexican side, which was I'm going to grab whatever the fuck is in my vicinity and I'm going to hit you.
There's a time thing with it.
There is.
Like whites, they anticipate, it's the anticipation, and there's a whole ceremony. Like, okay, you pick out your stick, and then it's like this whole, oh God, I'm going to get beat. Oh my God. With Mexicans, you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have, ow, ow, ow. Like,
yeah, like you don't have, there's no
instant.
Yeah, it's
like,
100%. You don't think about it. You don't get to think about what's going to happen. It just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I have
Or I remember my grandma used to start brushing my hair really violently. Oh, that shit fucking hurt.
They press it into your scalp.
Yeah. It's fucking, yeah. Some of you guys, and that's the thing, like, I'm sorry. I will fucking smack my kid on the ass with a spoon. I am not going to be that mom.
It's a last resort.
100%. It's not going to be all the time, but
it's
there has to be a consequence to your actions.
Right. It's when psychology doesn't work anymore.
Yes.
When people get primitive, you have to resort to primitive ways.
Like when our dogs, if one of them bites me, I bite them back.
Then they know.
They don't know words.
Yeah. And most of like
or I show my teeth.
Obviously, don't beat your kids, but that's the thing. See, now you're apologizing. You're not apologizing, but you're trying to make it right and sound different. But here's the thing. We all survived. We all picked our stick. We all fucking got a wooden spoon. We weren't beat. It's not like we didn't have someone like fucking slamming their fist into our face or something. That's wrong. But we're also not like the pinnacle of like psychological health.
Well, that's not true either, though. Because here's my say on that too, is that we are definitely we've learned over time, and we learn with a lot of situations that we're faced with, but our communication skills are on par because we didn't have that. Like, you had the communication growing up. Your mom was pretty good at communicating with you. You weren't great at communicating because you didn't know how to control certain situations.
Right. I internalized it and turned it to rage.
Exactly. Me, I just shut down and got really quiet. Yeah. But then in all other situations, I was very loud. At school, I was very loud. I was attention grabbing all the time. And then as I got older, I realized where my attention wanting came from, not understanding where my love was coming from in the home. So I couldn't control that. That wasn't controlled environment. So I controlled something somewhere else where I was. Yeah. And so I think we may have not have come from mental strength, but we got there because we didn't come from it. Yeah. Like, I almost feel like when people, like, I was listening to that podcast with Mark Maron and Ben Schwartz, and he's like, oh yeah, I love therapy. And like, Mark Maron's like, well, why do you go to therapy? Like, what made you go to therapy? And he's like, well, I mean, I had a great upbringing. My parents were great at communication skills, everything, like very normal upbringing home. Yeah. But he likes to go to therapy just to keep in check with himself.
Some people feel like they need it. And so utilize that, I guess.
But then there's me, where the only therapy I had gone to was when my parents were like, we need to go to a family therapy session. And that was, I think I was like 15 the last time I went to something like that. Yeah. Or I went to like the Al-Anon meetings and things like that. So I learned little bits and pieces from that. But me as an adult I've never gone to a therapist. Right. But that's not to say that I don't do check-ins with myself. Like, I understand that it's great to go to therapy. I think it's awesome for people to do it, and I think more people should.
If you feel like you need it, and it benefits you.
Exactly. If you feel like you need someone to talk to that is an unbiased source for you to fuel all of your fucking thoughts and stuff into to help you organize it better, by all means, go do it. Like, I think everyone should at least try therapy once, but that's the thing is, I did see what therapy did, but I think I just knew that I was capable of doing it myself.
Well, and also
and it also freaks me out to have someone talk to me, and I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Like that part, like when you take your car to a mechanic, and sometimes if that mechanic's kind of shady, and you're like, did they cut something so I have to come back and spend more money? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that thought process.
No, that's a good point, because a lot of people,
I have trust issues.
Everyone should be skeptical of everything, because there's different.
So Marty and I have trust issues.
No, I'm serious.
Just kidding.
There's a lot of bullshit in therapy. Yeah. Some people are like, everyone thinks of Freud. There's
some of it's a lot more work than I think is necessary.
Well, because a lot of people come from the doctrine of, this is what you do the rest of your life. You go to a therapist. Yeah. Is it going to be solved? No. And then other people, there's different what do you call it, methodologies. Mm-hmm. Some people think this is something like Freud said something, and I totally agree with this. He basically said anything that is a reality for this person,
just lobotomize them, becomes
reality. I'm just kidding. So like if you, like people who have severe mental disorders, who see they see things, they have like hallucinations, right? Yeah, that's their reality. It's very real to them,
for sure.
Therefore, it is real. Now, same thing with people who are brainwashed. When they're brainwashed, it's really hard to change their mind. They have to be unbrainwashed. You have to brainwash them into believing something else. So, society does this. We brainwash ourselves with all these ideas, and we have doctrines and why we think certain things are acceptable, like not to be naked in public, all these things. They're integrated into our psychology. Yeah. Well, did you smack yourself in the face?
Yeah, I did. I was playing with my cord. Lesson learned.
Now, but Freud says if you convince yourself that's reality, it becomes your reality.
Mm-hmm.
So I've took that and said, I'm not depressed. I'm not these things. And I literally said,
rewired yourself.
Yeah, I said incantations. As soon as I felt bad, I thought of something that made me happy. And I did that for years, and it fucking worked. Like, I'm a happy person now.
Are you?
Oh. I know, but I've controlled my rage.
Yeah.
I could express myself better. I still have a problem expressing myself. I still internalize.
It's just because you don't know your vocabulary, you know? Like, just your words are limited. I'm just kidding. But Marty's actually a lot smarter than me. He says great things.
But I
just gave you a compliment. You told me fuck off.
That's another issue I have. I have a hard time accepting compliments.
Yeah, you're not great at accepting compliments.
Thanks.
Sometimes I'm like, you're really handsome. And you're like, yeah, I know. And then you fart. And I'm like...
And I strip off all my clothes and throw shit on the wall.
It's like you deflect it in any way.
I do deflect it. Because I feel like I'm not worthy.
Cute, sad.
No. But do what works for you.
Yeah.
Long story short, you know. If
it's
benefiting you, go down that rabbit hole. Keep doing that.
Yeah. And I think definitely with me, Al-Anon helped me for sure.
There's some good stuff in
and
Al-Anon.
I definitely I consider Al-Anon a type of therapy. Because you are talking to other people and you are getting emotions out and you're learning how not to be codependent.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing I think that I learned. And when I learned it so early was codependency is bad.
Right.
And and it was very codependent and I always carried the world on my shoulders up until I think I was like 15 and we went to like a family meeting therapy session and I was like, y'all are sick. Like, and then that's when I realized I was like, the problem is not me. It is not my fault as a person. And it definitely took a lot longer to accept that. I think I didn't accept that until I was like 25, that what went on when I was a kid was not my fault. It had nothing to do with me. My parents deciding to be fucking nuts is not my issue.
Yeah.
It was not my
your
choice.
Responsibility to
Absolutely
babysit
not.
them or to nourish their whatever.
No. And that was the thing too. And I really need to talk to them more, but my Uncle Joe and Aunt Becky, they're so adamant on making sure that I knew that. And I don't know if they did the same for my sister, but I feel like they were one of the main reasons why I did know that.
Yeah.
Because I watched them as parents and I was like, you guys are totally fucking normal. And they did. They had their own issues.
Everyone,
sure.
Yeah.
But they seemed very normal. And it was one of those things where it was like they made sure to let me know that, I don't know, that somehow they made sure that I knew that none of it was my fault. So over time, I slowly got that bug in my head that it is not my fault.
Yeah.
And then when I hit 25, I think that's when I was like, I am my own person. I make my decisions. And I know that every decision I made has been a choice on myself.
Yeah.
No one else's responsibility ever at that point. If I did something bad to someone, it was my choice to treat that person bad. And it was my responsibility to own up to it. And so I think I just hit that part in my life. And then I think we both hit that part because that's when we both started communicating a lot better. And that's when you and I would actually say things to each other if I was uncomfortable with something or I felt like you had put me, like I didn't want you to put me on a pedestal, but I also didn't want to feel insignificant to you.
Yeah.
And you like to say certain things that would not make me feel insignificant, but it wouldn't make me feel like I was your number one person.
Right, like I would say, you're insignificant, you mean nothing.
Yeah,
like,
you're small and rare.
Those kind of those kind of words.
And then you would beat me. It was a whole thing. So, and then we both hit 25, and that's when you were like, I started being like, hey, this is what I would prefer for you to say to me. This is why I feel this way, and this is why I'm sad.
Yeah,
and then
that's important too, because I notice people are like, for some reason I give out advice on relationships, but
A lot of people ask us for advice